was the first mandatory thing they made us take. We're given no choice in the matter. Once you accept one thing that's mandatory, the next one is easy to push on the public. So it's like the old Pantheon building. You had all those pillars holding up the roof. If you knock one pillar down, that puts extra strain on all the rest, and it's easier to knock the second and third and fourth ones down. That's why you can never compromise with these guys on anything, or it's game over. And we've compromised already. We have half the pillars holding up the roof. And they're on a roll now. Now there's Karen from Oregon there. You there, Karen?
Hi, Alan. Yes, I am.
Yes.
First of all, I want to thank you for all the research you do and all the time you put into it, because I wonder if you have any life at all with all the knowledge that you are constantly accumulating.
There's not much of a life, I must admit.
I want to encourage you to have some fun.
Yes, there's no doubt about it. As I say, that things are coming so rapidly now that it's almost impossible to have fun, especially when you try and look to a future which you know is coming in, and now it's being admitted to, of a totalitarian system where literally you'll be unable to plan a future for yourself because the state will do it for you, from school to work, etc., etc. That's all part of it.
I know, and I have a battle with myself always about trying to keep a high energy up, but I believe that we can change it. I believe that when individually we recognize our own sovereignty and begin to be positive and loving and take steps, that we can. And I actually have an action plan that I would like to talk about for a second, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
All right. I have a website. Is it okay to mention a website?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, taxfree15.com. And it is a movement that's a consumer boycott and a congressional call-in that started on the 15th of April, that will go on to the 15th of every month and roll over as hopefully we gain numbers. And the consumer boycott part is don't buy, don't comply, and ask why. So we're trying to ask people not to go shopping on that day to any great big corporations, to just try and plan ahead. And I realize that we need people in massive numbers to actually make any kind of effect at all. But if people start to get the idea of withholding their dollars and their taxes from all the taxes that are just included when we make purchases, and they don't buy anything on the 15th, and then if they pick up their phone and they call their Congress and they say, look, I'm not buying anything today, and this is why. I want to know why Congress isn't printing and coining money, our money, without interest and without debt. Yeah. Or I want to know why fluoride is in my water. Mm-hmm. Things like that. And to start giving people a way of peaceful, proactive non-compliance in a sense, because it would be great, too, if people finally reach the point where not only do they call, but they take their money out of the bank on the 15th. They get hard assets. They start realizing that what's important to us is really clean air, clean water, shelter, healthy food, and just being self-sustaining. You know, we've been loaded into...
which is the opposite, you see, the exact opposite of what they've planned. But you're right. It's amazing if the people knew the power that they had, and if you could get them to help each other and go along with the same kind of idea, we could stop the country. You could literally stop the country and not buy gasoline for a day. And you watch it plummet. It'll plummet all right.
I believe that.
And it's the same with any other thing. But hold on, and we'll come back after this break. This is Alan Watts, and we're cutting through the matrix, talking to Karen from Oregon about ways that the people could use what little power they've still got left in a peaceable way to try and alter the direction, the course that we're on. And it's true enough that people individually even boycotted certain things. It was true, the incredible amount of taxes on every item you purchase, you have no idea. And sometimes they'll publish it in Canada, and you're paying 40-50% taxes on everything that you buy up here. And there's hidden taxes and everything. Gasoline would be 2/3 less up in Canada if it wasn't for government taxes. And we have the power of the purse at the moment to at least stall them and make them start to consider our opinions or even humorous if possible. But that's really all that we've got left to do because other course is violence, and people will become violent as predicted by the think tanks for the military as they step up this agenda starting around the year 2010.
Well, I think that they will, Alan, but I also think that we have more power than we realize, and that basically with the big picture, it's all about controlling our power and our energy, and if they can keep us in fear, they can keep us from realizing just how powerful we can be if we're not always worried about how to pay the rent and getting our kids vaccinated and this phony. And isn't it wonderful that they call it the swine flu because they think we're such pigs?
Oh, I know. It's very obvious that it's an insult, complete insult to the public.
But
that's the thing with the public. The public have to, again, in history, and you know this at the top too, it's only about 3% of the public who are active, who really change anything. The rest of them, honestly, will tell you, I don't want to know because they're afraid of having the eyes of government focused on them. And they will go, in fact, what they'll tell you is, I don't want to know this, I'm good, I obey the laws. What they're telling you is, whatever laws come down, I will keep obeying. I'll bow down to the ground as long as they leave me alone. And that's the problem, because most folk, especially those who are still working at a fair income, they will go along to get along. And see, not every class is hit the same way at the same time. That's always been the problem. If it was, you'd have more cohesiveness amongst them and workability to get things done. So the big boys understand how to divide and conquer. But you're quite right, on an individual level, absolutely, people can stand together in their own little ways, but accumulatively across a country, that can really be a big force.
That's what I'm trying to help happen, and to give people an option as opposed to violence. Because when somebody, I mean, if we're talking about pigs, let's bring up Henry Kissinger, who says, military are just dumb, stupid animals to be used in foreign policy.
That's right.
And so anybody who signs up in the military or the police department, in my opinion, should really start to think about that and take to heart the fact that Kissinger is up there now calling a lot of the shots. And why should we lay down our lives for someone who thinks of us as just that? Yes. And government should be a whisper in the background of our lives instead of commanding presence in the foreground, shoving rules down our throat.
Yeah, I know, by force. And again, they have trained a couple of generations to accept this. That's a problem. They've come to forget what individuality and freedoms are, and have been taught to obey, mainly again through all the fictional shows they watch on television. But yet individually, those who are awake can do something about it, and they should. I
remember, and you remember, and hopefully people will go to taxfree15.com and help us all remember.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling. And that's the end of the show already. An hour just flies by, and had a lot more to read as well. But go into cuttingthroughmatrix.com website for the links. But from Hamish, myself, in Ontario, Canada, it's good night, and may your God or your gods go with you.